The morning sun cast long shadows across the grounds of Clarence House as Inspector Margaret Thompson made her routine security check. She had been protecting the royal family for 15 years, and nothing escaped her sharp eyes. But today felt different. There was tension in the air that she couldn't quite place. Queen Camilla sat in her private sitting room, sipping her morning tea while reviewing the day's schedule. Her granddaughter, Lola Parker Bowles, was visiting for the weekend. The 12-year-old had always been fascinated by royal life, often asking endless questions about ceremonies, traditions, and especially the magnificent jewelry collection. Down the hallway, young Lola stood before her grandmother's dressing room mirror. She had slipped away while the adults were busy with morning meetings. Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she gazed at her reflection. Around her neck hung a delicate diamond necklace that caught the light beautifully. On her wrist sat a matching bracelet, and her ears held small but precious diamond studs. What Lola didn't realize was that these weren't just any pieces of jewelry. The set she wore belonged to Princess Charlotte, daughter of Prince William and Catherine. The pieces had been specially commissioned for Charlotte's 8th birthday and were considered among the most precious items in the young princess's growing collection. Inspector Thompson was making her rounds when she noticed something unusual. The jewelry vault's electronic log showed an entry at 7:30 a.m., but no scheduled appointments were recorded for that time. Her training kicked in immediately. Any unauthorized access to royal valuables was a serious security breach. She quickly checked the surveillance footage from the morning. The cameras showed Lola entering the jewelry room shortly after breakfast. The young girl had watched carefully when the security code was entered the day before during an official viewing. Her sharp memory had captured every digit. Thompson's heart sank as she realized the gravity of the situation. Princess Charlotte's jewelry wasn't just valuable, it was irreplaceable. Each piece carried deep sentimental value and had been blessed by the Archbishop of Canterbury during a special ceremony. The theft, even if unintentional, could create a diplomatic crisis within the royal family. She immediately contacted her supervisor, Chief Security Officer James Mitchell. Within minutes, he arrived at Clarence House, his face grave with concern. They both understood that this situation required delicate handling. On one side was Queen Camilla's beloved granddaughter, and on the other was Princess Charlotte's precious inheritance. Meanwhile, Lola continued to admire herself in the mirror, completely unaware of the storm brewing around her. She had often dreamed of being a real princess, and wearing these beautiful jewels made that dream feel real. She practiced royal waves and curtsies, imagining herself at grand state dinners and official ceremonies. Queen Camilla finished her morning meetings and decided to check on her granddaughter. As she walked toward the guest quarters, she noticed unusual activity among the security staff. Thompson and Mitchell were having intense, whispered conversations near the jewelry room. Their serious expressions told her something was very wrong. "Inspector Thompson," she called out, her voice carrying the authority of decades in royal circles. "Is there something I should know about?" Thompson took a deep breath. She had delivered difficult news to royals before, but this felt particularly challenging. "Your Majesty, we have a situation involving some missing jewelry from Princess Charlotte's collection." The Queen's face went pale. She immediately understood the implications. Charlotte's jewelry wasn't just expensive. It was a symbol of her future role in the monarchy. Any threat to it could be seen as an attack on the young princess's position in the line of succession. "Where is my granddaughter?" the Queen asked quietly, though she already suspected the answer. Before Thompson could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed down the marble hallway. Lola appeared, still wearing the stolen jewelry, her face glowing with innocent joy. She had spent the last hour playing princess, completely unaware that her actions had triggered a security crisis. "Grandmother, look how beautiful these are!" Lola exclaimed, spinning around to show off the necklace. "They make me feel like a real princess!" The silence that followed was deafening. Queen Camilla stared at her granddaughter in shock, while Thompson and Mitchell exchanged worried glances. They all knew that within hours, this incident would be reported up the chain of command. Prince William and Catherine would be informed that their daughter's precious jewelry had been taken without permission. The political implications were staggering. The relationship between Camilla and Catherine had always been complex, marked by careful diplomacy and unspoken tensions. This incident could shatter the delicate balance that had been maintained for years. Thompson stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "Miss Parker Bowles, those pieces belong to Princess Charlotte. They're very special and need to be returned immediately." Lola's smile faded as she began to understand the seriousness of the situation. "I was just playing," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "I didn't mean to steal anything." Queen Camilla felt her heart breaking for her granddaughter, but she also knew that protocol had to be followed. The jewelry needed to be returned, documented, and checked for any damage. More importantly, an official report would have to be filed explaining exactly what had happened. As news of the incident began to spread through the security channels, reactions were swift and varied. Some staff members were sympathetic, understanding that a child's curiosity had simply gotten the better of her. Others were outraged, viewing the incident as a serious breach of royal protocol that demanded consequences. The most concerning reaction came from Princess Charlotte's personal protection team. They had been specifically tasked with safeguarding her possessions, and this incident represented a failure of their security measures. Their leader, Inspector Sarah Chen, was known for her strict adherence to protocol and her fierce loyalty to the young princess. Chen immediately demanded a full investigation into how a child had gained access to such valuable items. She wanted to know who was responsible for the security breach and what measures would be taken to prevent future incidents. Her protective instincts were fully activated, and she saw this as a direct threat to her charge. The afternoon brought a flurry of phone calls between various royal residences. Prince William was informed while attending an official engagement in Birmingham. His initial reaction was one of concern rather than anger, but that quickly changed as more details emerged about the security failures that had allowed the incident to occur. Catherine was at a children's charity event when she received the news. Her diplomatic training helped her maintain composure in public, but privately, she was deeply upset. Charlotte's jewelry collection represented not just monetary value, but a connection to royal heritage and tradition that stretched back generations. As the day progressed, it became clear that this incident would not simply disappear. Too many people knew about it, and too many protocols had been breached. The royal family's complex internal dynamics were about to be tested in ways no one had anticipated. Queen Camilla found herself in an impossible position. Her love for her granddaughter battled with her duty to maintain royal protocol. She knew that protecting Lola might damage her relationships with other family members, but abandoning the child would go against every maternal instinct she possessed. The security team faced their own dilemma. Their primary duty was to protect royal assets and maintain protocol, but they also understood that a 12-year-old girl's mistake should not destroy her future or her family's reputation. The challenge was finding a solution that satisfied both justice and compassion. As evening approached, emergency meetings were being scheduled at various royal residences. The incident that had started as a child's innocent game was rapidly becoming a crisis that threatened to expose and amplify existing tensions within the royal family. Inspector Thompson prepared her detailed report, knowing that every word would be scrutinized by multiple parties. The documentation had to be thorough and accurate, but she also hoped to present the facts in a way that might minimize the damage to young Lola's reputation. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the bonds of family loyalty, the demands of royal protocol, and the limits of forgiveness within one of the world's most watched families. What had started as a morning of innocent play was about to become a defining moment for everyone involved. The emergency meeting was called for 6 p.m. at Kensington Palace. Prince William and Catherine arrived with grim expressions, having spent the afternoon discussing the implications of the incident. Princess Charlotte had been told that some of her jewelry had been borrowed without permission, but the full details were kept from her to protect her from the family drama that was unfolding. Queen Camilla arrived with her security detail, her face showing the strain of the day's events. She had spent hours trying to explain the situation to young Lola, who was now staying with other family members while the adults sorted through the crisis. The Queen's usual composure was cracking under the weight of protecting her granddaughter while maintaining family harmony. Inspector Thompson and Chief Mitchell were also present, along with Inspector Chen from Charlotte's protection team. The tension in the ornate meeting room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Everyone understood that this conversation would determine not just the consequences for Lola, but potentially the future dynamics of the entire royal family. Prince William spoke first, his voice controlled but clearly upset. "I want to understand exactly how a 12-year-old gained access to my daughter's most precious possessions. These aren't just valuable items, they're Charlotte's inheritance, blessed specifically for her future role." Thompson shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "Your Royal Highness." Miss Parker Bowles observed the security code being entered yesterday during an authorized viewing. She has an exceptional memory and was able to replicate the sequence this morning. "That's not the point," Inspector Chen interjected sharply. "The point is that there should have been additional safeguards in place. A child shouldn't have been able to access any royal jewelry collection, regardless of her memory skills." Queen Camilla felt her protective instincts flare. "She's a curious child who made an innocent mistake. Surely we can handle this within the family without creating a permanent crisis." Catherine spoke for the first time since entering the room. Her voice was calm, but carried an edge that everyone recognized as barely controlled anger. "Camilla, I understand your desire to protect Lola, but this isn't just about one mistake. This incident reveals serious security flaws that put Charlotte's entire collection at risk." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about returning some jewelry. It was about fundamental questions of trust, security, and family hierarchy within the monarchy. Inspector Chen pulled out a thick folder containing photographs and documentation. "I've completed a full security audit since this morning. What we've discovered is deeply concerning. The jewelry room's access log shows 17 unauthorized entries over the past 6 months. Gasps echoed around the room. What they had assumed was an isolated incident was apparently part of a much larger pattern of security failures. 17? Prince William's voice rose slightly. "And we're just learning about this now?" Mitchell looked embarrassed but determined to provide a complete explanation. "Most of those entries were by authorized personnel who failed to follow proper logging procedures. However, 3 entries cannot be accounted for, including this morning's incident." Catherine leaned forward, her diplomatic training warring with her maternal instincts. "So you're telling me that for 6 months, people have been accessing my daughter's possessions without proper authorization, and no one thought to investigate?" Queen Camilla could see the conversation spiraling beyond Lola's innocent mistake into a full-scale review of security protocols. While she understood the legitimate concerns being raised, she also feared that her granddaughter would become a scapegoat for larger systemic failures. "Perhaps we should focus on fixing the security issues rather than assigning blame to a child," the Queen suggested carefully. "Lola made a mistake, but she's 12 years old. Surely the real problem lies with the adults responsible for maintaining proper security." Inspector Chen's response was immediate and sharp. "With respect, Your Majesty, the age of the perpetrator doesn't change the seriousness of the breach. Princess Charlotte's trust in our ability to protect her possessions has been fundamentally undermined." The word perpetrator hung in the air like a slap. Queen Camilla's face flushed with anger. "You will not refer to my granddaughter as a perpetrator. She is a child who took some jewelry to play dress-up, not a criminal mastermind." "The technical definition remains the same regardless of intent," Chen replied coolly. "Unauthorized access to royal property is a serious offense under palace security protocols." Prince William raised his hand to stop the escalating argument. "Let's step back and focus on solutions. The jewelry has been returned undamaged, which is the most important thing. But we need to ensure this never happens again." Thompson cleared her throat. "Sir, I have a proposal that might address everyone's concerns. We could implement a new multi-factor authentication system for all jewelry storage areas. Biometric scanners, rotating access codes, and mandatory dual authorization for any entry." "That sounds expensive and complicated," Queen Camilla observed. "Are we really going to treat family visits like military operations?" Catherine's patience finally snapped. "When family visits result in unauthorized access to priceless royal artifacts, then yes, we need military-level security. Charlotte's collection isn't just valuable, it's irreplaceable. Some of those pieces have been in the royal family for generations." The Queen stood up, her own anger finally breaking through her composed exterior. "And what about family relationships? Are they replaceable? Because that's what we're destroying here. We're turning a child's innocent mistake into a family crisis that could last for years." "Innocent?" Inspector Chen challenged. "She specifically chose Charlotte's most valuable pieces. She bypassed several other jewelry displays to target the items with the highest worth. That suggests deliberate intent, not innocent curiosity." Queen Camilla felt her world tilting. The suggestion that Lola had acted with criminal intent was more than she could bear. "How dare you suggest that a 12-year-old planned some sort of elaborate theft? She chose pretty jewelry because she's a little girl who likes sparkly things." William tried to regain control of the meeting. "We're all emotional right now, which is understandable. But we need to focus on preventing future incidents while maintaining family relationships." Thompson seized the opportunity to redirect the conversation. "Perhaps we could establish clear protocols for family visits, supervised access to certain areas, educational tours that satisfy curiosity without compromising security." "Educational tours?" Queen Camilla's voice dripped with sarcasm. "So now my granddaughter needs supervision like a dangerous visitor?" The meeting was deteriorating rapidly, with family loyalty battling security concerns and personal relationships fracturing under the pressure of royal protocol. Each participant was entrenched in their position, making compromise increasingly difficult. Catherine made one final attempt at finding middle ground. "Camilla, I understand you want to protect Lola. As a mother, I sympathize completely. But I also have to protect Charlotte's interests. These pieces aren't just jewelry to her. They're symbols of her future role and responsibilities." "And Lola is my granddaughter," the Queen replied firmly. "I won't let her be destroyed by this family's obsession with protocol and tradition. She made a mistake, and she'll learn from it. But I won't stand by while she's treated like a criminal." Inspector Chen gathered her files with obvious frustration. "Very well. I'll be recommending a complete review of access protocols for all royal family members under the age of 18. If family relationships take precedence over security, then we need policies that reflect that priority." The implication was clear. If the family wouldn't take security seriously, then the professionals would have to impose restrictions that might be even more limiting than current protocols. As the meeting broke up without resolution, everyone understood that the real confrontation was just beginning. The incident had exposed deep fault lines within the royal family's structure, pitting traditional hierarchy against family loyalty, security concerns against personal relationships. Queen Camilla left feeling isolated and defensive, convinced that her granddaughter was being scapegoated for broader institutional failures. Prince William and Catherine departed, frustrated and concerned, worried that their daughter's security was being compromised by family politics. Inspector Thompson faced the impossible task of implementing security measures that satisfied professional standards while maintaining family harmony. Inspector Chen prepared for a battle over protocols that she viewed as essential for protecting Princess Charlotte's interests. The stage was set for a prolonged conflict that would test every relationship within the royal family. What had started as a child's innocent mistake was becoming a defining moment that would reshape how the monarchy balanced family dynamics with institutional responsibilities. The next phase of this crisis would determine whether the royal family could find a path forward that protected both their treasured possessions and their cherished relationships, or whether they would be forced to choose between security and family unity. 3 weeks after the incident, the royal family found themselves in an unprecedented situation. The story had leaked to the media, though details remained vague. Headlines like "Security Breach at Royal Residence" and "Questions Raised About Palace Protection" dominated the news cycle, adding public pressure to an already complex family crisis. Inspector Chen had submitted her formal report recommending significant security upgrades and new restrictions on family access to royal collections. The 47-page document outlined extensive changes that would essentially treat all family members under 18 as potential security risks. Her recommendations were thorough, professional, and would effectively end the informal family atmosphere that had characterized royal residences for decades. Queen Camilla had spent sleepless nights reviewing the report, understanding that accepting Chen's recommendations would mean admitting that her granddaughter posed an ongoing threat to royal security. The implications went far beyond Lola. They would affect how all royal children interacted with their heritage and family history. The breaking point came when Princess Charlotte herself requested a meeting with her grandmother. The 9-year-old had overheard enough adult conversations to understand that her jewelry had been involved in some kind of family argument, and she wanted to understand what was happening. The meeting took place in Queen Camilla's private sitting room on a gray Tuesday afternoon. Charlotte arrived with her personal protection officer, a reminder of the formal security protocols that now surrounded even family conversations. Her serious expression showed maturity beyond her years. "Grandmother Camilla," Charlotte began with careful formality, "I want to understand why everyone is so upset about my jewelry." The Queen felt her heart break a little at the formal address. Before the incident, Charlotte had always called her Granny Cam, with casual affection. The return to formal titles showed how the crisis had already damaged family relationships. "Your jewelry is very precious, Charlotte. When Lola borrowed it without asking, it made everyone worry about keeping your special things safe," the Queen explained carefully. Charlotte considered this for a moment. "But Lola is family. I share my toys with my brother George and my sister Louie all the time. Why can't I share my jewelry with my step-cousin?" The simple question cut to the heart of the entire crisis. In a child's mind, sharing beautiful things with family members was natural and expected. The adult world of security protocols and formal procedures seemed unnecessarily complicated and hurtful. "It's not that simple, darling," Queen Camilla tried to explain. "Your jewelry has special rules because it's part of your inheritance and your future role." "But I'm just 9, Charlotte replied with devastating logic. "I won't need most of it until I'm grown up. Why can't Lola play with it now if I say it's okay?" The Queen realized that Charlotte's perspective might offer a solution that had eluded all the adults involved. If the young princess herself was willing to share her collection under proper supervision, it might provide a framework for resolving the crisis while maintaining both security and family relationships. Later that day, Queen Camilla called Prince William with an unusual proposal. What if Charlotte had the final say about access to her collection? With proper supervision and security protocols, but ultimately respecting her wishes as the owner. William was initially skeptical. "She's 9 years old, Camilla. She can't make decisions about priceless artifacts." "But they're her priceless artifacts," the Queen pointed out, "and her instinct is to share with family, which is exactly the kind of generosity we want to encourage in future monarchs." The conversation planted a seed that grew over the following days. Catherine found herself reconsidering her position when Charlotte repeatedly asked why Lola couldn't visit anymore. The young princess seemed more upset about the family separation than about her jewelry being borrowed. A second family meeting was called, this time including Princess Charlotte as a participant rather than just a topic of discussion. Her presence immediately changed the tone of the conversation. Adults who had been arguing passionately about abstract principles suddenly faced the reality of explaining their positions to a 9-year-old. "I want Lola to be able to visit again," Charlotte announced before anyone else could speak. "And I want her to be able to see my jewelry collection, but maybe someone should be with us to make sure we're careful." Inspector Chen, who had prepared for another battle over security protocols, found herself speechless in the face of the young princess's direct request. Her professional instincts told her that child preferences shouldn't override security concerns, but royal protocol also demanded respect for the wishes of family members. Thompson stepped forward with a compromise proposal. "What if we established a family access program, supervised visits to the jewelry collection for royal children, with educational components and proper security oversight?" The idea had merit. It would address security concerns while maintaining family traditions and satisfying Charlotte's desire to share her heritage with relatives. More importantly, it would establish a precedent for future situations involving royal children and family access to precious collections. Queen Camilla saw the opportunity for a solution that protected both Lola's reputation and Charlotte's interests. "We could start with a pilot program, supervised visits, educational presentations about the history and significance of the pieces, and clear protocols for handling." Catherine found herself nodding despite her earlier reservations. It might actually be good for Charlotte to learn about sharing and responsibility. "And it would give us better control over who has access and under what circumstances." The transformation in the room was remarkable. What had been an adversarial confrontation became a collaborative problem-solving session. Everyone began contributing ideas for how to implement a family access program that would satisfy security requirements while preserving family relationships. Inspector Chen, though still concerned about security implications, recognized that royal protocol demanded respect for Charlotte's wishes. "We could implement additional safeguards. Individual pieces would be presented separately, handling would be supervised, and all interactions would be documented." Over the following weeks, the new family access program took shape. Lola was invited to be the first participant, with her grandmother present for emotional support and security personnel providing professional oversight. The visit was structured as an educational experience, with presentations about the history and significance of each piece in Charlotte's collection. The meeting between the two children was touching and healing. Charlotte proudly explained the stories behind her favorite pieces, while Lola listened with genuine fascination and respect. Under supervision, both children were able to handle and appreciate the beautiful jewelry while learning about its cultural and historical significance. The success of the initial visit led to regular family heritage sessions, where royal children could learn about and appreciate their shared inheritance while maintaining proper security protocols. What had started as a crisis became an opportunity to strengthen family bonds while respecting royal traditions. Inspector Chen, though initially resistant, found that the supervised access program actually enhanced security by creating positive relationships between the children and the security staff. The young royals became partners in protecting their heritage rather than potential threats to it. Queen Camilla's relationship with her granddaughter was repaired, But, more importantly, the incident had taught valuable lessons about responsibility, respect, and the importance of asking permission. Lola's genuine remorse and commitment to following protocols demonstrated that children could learn from mistakes without being permanently damaged by them. The media attention gradually died down as positive stories emerged about the royal family's innovative approach to heritage education. Rather than hiding the incident, they had transformed it into an opportunity to demonstrate how modern royals could balance tradition with family relationships. Catherine and Queen Camilla found their relationship strengthened by working together to solve the crisis. Their collaboration in developing the Access program created new mutual respect and understanding between them. They had proven that family conflicts could be resolved through compromise and creativity rather than rigid adherence to protocol. Princess Charlotte's role in resolving the crisis enhanced her reputation within the family as a thoughtful and generous future leader. Her instinct to share and include others, rather than jealously guard her possessions, demonstrated the kind of character that would serve the monarchy well in future generations. The incident became a case study for royal security training, demonstrating how family dynamics and security concerns could be balanced through innovative protocols. Rather than treating all family members as potential threats, the new approach recognized that education and inclusion were often more effective than restriction and separation. Inspector Thompson was promoted to head of family security operations, recognizing her crucial role in finding solutions that satisfied both professional standards and family needs. Her diplomatic approach had proven that security professionals could be both effective and humane. Years later, the incident would be remembered not as a crisis that divided the royal family, but as a turning point that brought them closer together. The Family Access program became a cherished tradition, allowing royal children to connect with their heritage while learning important lessons about responsibility and respect. The lessons learned extended beyond jewelry and security protocols. The royal family had demonstrated that even the most traditional institutions could adapt and evolve when family relationships were prioritized alongside formal procedures. They had proven that love, understanding, and creative problem-solving could overcome almost any challenge. Most importantly, young Lola grew up understanding that mistakes could be opportunities for learning and growth rather than permanent sources of shame. Her relationship with the royal family remained strong, built on a foundation of mutual respect, clear boundaries, and genuine affection that had survived its greatest test.